She is a one-woman powerhouse humanitarian who, touched by the spirit and soul calling of Africa, launched a multi-million-dollar initiative called Omnipeace, the first humanitarian fashion brand of its kind, with a mission to build schools and empower youth in Africa living in extreme poverty.
What's that on your shirt?
Well, it's a hand and a symbol of making a peace sign. Omnipeace makes these shirts.
It took off like wildfire, celebrities wearing the iconic logo as a symbol of hope and progress, and it sparked a revolution. But that was just the beginning. The unstoppable Fanaro would go on to create Rwanda Rocks, in a country reborn from the ashes of genocide. 2 music schools to empower youth. Then came her global music box, providing instruments and music education to kids all over the world. The first of which she launched in Los Angeles. The founder, CEO of Omnipeace, Mary Fanaro. She is today's LA story. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a really exciting edition of LA Stories. I'm Giselle Fernandez, and we are here with the amazing Mary Fanaro at the Dolores Richardson Elementary School here in Inglewood, where she's launched the first global music box program on track to revolutionize music education here and in Africa and across the world. I can't tell you what an honor it is to meet you.
Oh, I feel the same way.
So here we are at Dolores Richardson Elementary, your first Music in the Box program. I mean, one of your many triumphs, but why is this one so important to you?
Global Music Box is so important to children. It was like handing them a defibrillator and resuscitating them back to a life that they didn't even know they could have. And these are kids that come in who have never seen, touched, or played an instrument in their entire lives. There are 100 different forms of mental health support. Let this be the easiest one.
I love my music class because I get to experience different beats, and I'm actually a songwriter myself. I want people to know it's all about passion.
It's so simple, and now we've made it so accessible.
The power of music, self-expression, creativity. I understand it was Rwanda Rocks that inspired your global music box.
Yes. I've been working in Africa for 20 years to change the next generation of children's lives. I started out with 12 kids in Rwanda. 6 of those kids are now my teachers 10 years later. The other 6 went on to graduate from university. They now have kids, you know, a family. They've gone on to get full-time jobs. That's 12 out of 12. That's 100% return on my investment. When I transitioned to here, it was just such a natural progression. I thought, it's time for me to now do what I do here and see how that works.
I do want to take our viewers back because your ascent is pretty remarkable. You come from Miami. You describe your childhood as a bit complicated. Even though you speak of a complicated relationship with your mom, you also say that your mom really inspired your philanthropy.
Yes. She would call the orphanages, get a bus, and bring the kids over to watch the baseball game. I had just been born. One of the games, she had me in her arms, and one of the little black boys from the orphanage came over and said, "Can I hold your baby?" And she was like, "Well, sure." And this white man came across and said, "I wouldn't do that if I were you." And she said, "Well, that's why you're not me." And that's my mom, and that's me.
You came to LA to be an actress and then decided, not for
Yeah.
me. And
So
you
not
got
for me.
into party planning. Did a bunch of Oscar Vanity Fair parties, Hard Rock Cafe.
Right.
And then decided it was a bit vapid and saw what
Yeah.
Bono was doing with the One Foundation. And
Yeah.
how did that change your trajectory?
So I went to the filming of Bono's One campaign. He's getting all these people in a room to get behind, I think it was malaria, tuberculosis. Like, why can't I do that? That night I get a craving for a chocolate bar. Not a chocolate bar, but chocolate, as I do still. I go in the kitchen and there's the endangered species chocolate bar that was donated 10% to a protecting endangered species. And I was like, this is it. We're gonna be a chocolate bar, we're gonna give 10% to Africa. And we started out as a chocolate bar called Piece of Chocolate, P-E-A-C-E.
Wow.
I showed it to a friend of mine. He said, it's the worst idea you've ever had, but that's a great logo. Peace sign above the continent of Africa. He said, put that logo on t-shirts and get it on your celebrity friends. Now, what I didn't know was that that logo on that t-shirt would go viral before viral even existed. And it would be on every celebrity imaginable.
At the time, it was revolutionary, using
Yes.
fashion for compassion
Yes.
and fundraising, philanthropy. And it was about the time you learned about Dr. Jeffrey Sachs at
Yeah.
the Millennium Promise Village
Yes.
in Africa. And you said, for some reason, I have to meet him. What was that sparked that interest in
That was
you?
fantastic. There was an article on the front page of the LA Times about Jeff Sachs doing work in Kenya. It was all about making these villages self-sustainable. I was like, this is my guy. This is who the money's gonna go to in Africa. I flew to New York with the chocolate bar, and I show him a piece of chocolate. I'm like, will you be the recipient of these, you know, the whatever 5 cents these, you know, this chocolate bar is gonna make? And he's like, absolutely. And he said, I want you to come to a dinner tonight. He said, I want you to put those chocolate bars on all the tables, right, on all the plates. And he got up and he spoke about poverty and self-sustainability and everything that we needed to do. I had never in my life heard anybody speak like this before. He then picks up the chocolate bar and says, but it's people like this, the consumer, that we're gonna get our message out to the quickest, through the consumer. And all of a sudden, kind of this silly little thing that I was thinking about doing was like, oh, wait a minute, now I get it. The consumer, you know, $1 every however many, what then turned into t-shirts, hundreds of millions of people. I got what he was saying. It was conscious consumerism.
So you put your Omnipiece logo
On t-shirts.
on t-shirts.
Not that chocolate bar.
Yeah, you kind of said, okay, the chocolate bars are going
worst
this way.
idea ever. Yes.
You got to transport it, it
Yes.
melts, the whole 9 yards.
Right.
And you started projecting this logo onto t-shirts, and then you brought your worlds together, Courtney Cox
Yeah.
and Naomi Campbell. This was all for anti-violence against women. And
You got it. Conflict minerals, all the minerals
you
in it
got
all.
the big tech bros to weigh in on that and stop buying those minerals from the Congo.
Yeah. We did a big campaign.
All right, we're going to get more into how you then took off to Africa and started to change the world with a new nonprofit you started called Omnipiece when LA Stories comes right back. Welcome back to LA Stories. We're here with the amazing Mary Fanaro, founder of the Omnipiece Foundation, and all you care about is making sure kids are happy and learning, and you can hear them in the background. It's fantastic. You know, were you surprised that this logo literally had that impact?
I mean, I was shocked that a logo could have that much power.
Because it really revolutionized philanthropy, using fashion to somehow wear sustainability and social justice. It was like the beginning.
Yeah, it was one of the first humanitarian fashion brands. It was the only other person doing it was Tom's shoes.
And it was global almost immediately.
Yes.
Where you funneled that money to Dr. Sachs's village at Fight Poverty.
So basically, we were a licensing company. So we would go to all these t-shirts companies and we would say, look, you're gonna take this logo, put it on a t-shirt, get it in all your distribution channels, and we'll put it on celebrities. And it'll make you and us look good, and you're gonna cut me a check, and that check's gonna go towards building schools in Africa. Like, they had never heard of that before. It hadn't been done.
How many schools were you able then to fund and build?
7 schools in Senegal, Mali, and Malawi. They're primary schools, 1st to 6th grade, and also we teach the villagers, the elders, how to read at night. About 1,000 kids every grade, every year, for now 20 years, whatever that adds up to, and at times 7.
And your whole motivation is that education lifts kids out of poverty and also inspires them entrepreneurially.
Yes. They get a voice, right? So I think if you give children an opportunity to just to discover the voice that they have and have a voice and then use it, then they're gonna they're gonna find a path that makes them feel good about themselves, because it also gives them confidence. It also gives them self-esteem. It builds their character. Those are life skills and traits that really one needs to fend for themselves and fight for themselves sometimes, and figure out what it is that makes them happy and what they want to do in their lives.
When you're in Africa, in the village, and you see the schools that you've built,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
what does that infuse in you?
It's a hard feeling to describe it, because, it's like I did this, like this is happening because of me. It feels really great.
Do you have like your model students that you point to say, look what they've done?
Yes, in my music school. They come in with their tail between their legs, their heads down. Some, if they've eaten, it's a good day that day. Giving them an instrument, right? You find your voice, you find your song, and then you become part of the symphony of life.
I love that.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
They feel this love and this like comfort and this safety, and they're like they, come to life.
You launched Omnipeace on both coasts, but you find out that you're diagnosed with ovarian cancer, and you're young. But remarkably, that would derail so many other women, but not you. You insisted on going through with the launches of Omnipeace, even with that. How were you able to do that?
2 weeks before I launched, I was diagnosed. They told me to get my affairs in order, and I had to put a will together, and
That must have been a blow.
yeah. But kind of at the same time, I thought, well, hold on a second. God's not gonna like put this huge thing in my hand, right? This huge idea that's about to, I know something's about to happen because I can feel it's burning in my body, right? That's the thing that's burning in my body, not the cancer, how I'm interpreting it. And so I'm like, well, sure, I can quit and nobody would fault me for it, but then what am I gonna do? Am I just wake up every day and just have cancer? That, for my type of personality, would have killed me. That would have been the end. So Omnipeace saved my life. And what's funny is that on the hang tags of the t-shirt, it said, "Can fashion save lives?" And it was like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's saved my life.
Well, it's a remarkable achievement, what you've done. But if you think for a second Mary Fanaro was done, she was just getting started. And we're going to get into Rwanda Rocks when LA Stories comes right back. Welcome back to LA Stories, everyone. We're here with Mary Fanaro, founder of Omnipeace. And after launching Omnipeace, building 7 schools in Africa, you are on this guerrilla trek in Rwanda, and you're in a cab getting there. And the cab driver happens to mention, oh, I wish I had a music school for my son. That's all it took to create Rwanda Rocks?
Yes. He actually said, will you build a music school for my son? I know you build schools. And I said, absolutely not.
But you did.
I did.
And what's interesting is people would say, why Rwanda? I mean, it was the place of such a massive genocide, 1 million people killed in '94 in 100 days. And yet it's risen from the ashes to be one of the most productive African nations there. And you say Rwanda Rocks helped in that transformation. In what way?
It's the only music school there that is providing free music education for the last 10 years in a country that is not necessarily giving music education to their children at all. And I think part of a country rising from the ashes of the genocide and giving music, giving free music education to the children at the same time is something very powerful about those two working hand in hand. And every one of my kids that has gone through that school in the last 10 years, it's changed their lives. I get videos every day. Listen, it's the 5th safest country on the planet. It'll be the only country in history to go from a 3rd world country to a 1st world country in the next 15 years. There is a humility, a kindness, a grace that's unlike any other African country that I've been to. And I think it's because of where they have come from and the forgiveness that they have had to had. It was a tribal thing, right? So they're fighting each other. Those people didn't go away. They're all living now as one.
It's very hopeful, isn't it?
God, they're better than I could do, which is why I love it so much.
Which is why you
Like,
do it.
on my best day, I'm still never gonna be as great as they are on a regular day for them in terms of their character.
How did you go from that to wanting then to share this curriculum everywhere in the world?
So my guitar teacher, who was Musicians Without Borders, he had just worked in this refugee camp. And he said to me, there's a little space there. It's like another mud hut. There's a space there. You should put a music school there. Like, now you want me to go to a refugee camp? Like, that's a job for somebody else. You want a refugee camp 4 hours outside of Kigali. Bringing instruments, forget it.
But you did it.
But we did it.
And it was transformative.
And it was transformative. Yeah, that was some powerful stuff. The school sits on, the camp sits on top of a hill. It's like the most beautiful view you've ever seen. And you're standing in the middle of extreme poverty. Like, the juxtaposition of the two is almost like, it's hard to you know what I mean? It's hard to like bridge that gap in your head. These kids don't see a view. They see what they're gonna eat every day, and they hope that it's gonna come tomorrow. And they see that one water well for 18,000 refugees that they get water out of, and they hope that it doesn't go dry. That's the view. Think about that. You know, the school and the refugee camp kind of hit hard for me because there was a protest in the camp and we had to leave. And when I saw all the kids had to like take the instruments up the hill and put them back in the car to leave, and it was like, yeah, it was like we were taking it away from them.
Oh, that gets you.
It was kind of in that moment where I was like, okay, this is a lifeline. Like, music was a lifeline for them. And then the fact that we, oh my God, and I just have that picture of them waving goodbye and then walking up that hill, with those instruments under their arms. And, I think, you don't know what you don't know what you have until you don't have it. So to give kids music and then take it away is worse than, not giving it to them at all. But it's also worse to not give it to them at all.
And how did that change your worldview?
We're all connected. In light of what's happening today, if we're all connected, then anything that anybody does for any part of the world resonates everywhere. Do you think the rest of the world isn't feeling what we're feeling right now? So of course we're all connected. It's mankind. It's the human race.
What is next? What is the next big thing you're going to do?
Our next one's going to go at a church in kind of the borders, Pasadena, Altadena, where the pastor and his wife lost their home in the fires. She was a music teacher in her school and lost her school in the fires, and her dream is to have a music school. And I went to that church to just donate some time, and I was like, oh my God, conspiracy. That's how it happens. So that's next, and that's gonna be amazing.
You're amazing.
I have dreams. I have dreams. And then I have dreams that have been manifested. And so I just go to the next one.
Well, you're a Renaissance woman. Thank you for all you do, and thank you for sharing your story with us. You're a true inspiration, and for any of us looking for resilience and a dream come true, you're just emblematic of the possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mary Fanaro with Omnipeace. And thank you for watching another edition of LA Stories. I'm Giselle Fernandez. We'll see you next time. Thank you for watching our YouTube channel. For more stories in your communities, click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV for the latest information, balanced coverage, weather updates every 10 minutes, and more. We'll see you then.